Hello everyone! Today I saw that the challenge over at the Landscaping Challenge was to try a new technique, so I am going to create a window card, which is something I have never done before. So I am starting by coloring this piece of cardstock with the lemon chiffon ink from Simon Says Stamp. I'm just coloring the edges because I am going to cut a frame out, so I won't be needing the middle. And I am coloring the cardstock with the ink because it's a really light yellow color that I liked, and I don't have any colors of that cardstock. You can buy this colored cardstock from Simon Says Stamp, but I just don't have any at the moment. So next I'm going to die cut my frame like I said. I'm using the Stitched Rectangles dies from Simon Says Stamp. So I have the largest one, and I'll just tape that into place with a piece of washi tape. And then I have two sizes smaller that I will center in the middle of that, and then also tape that into place with my washi tape. And then once I die cut that out, I will get a frame that I'm going to use on the front of my card. So like I said, I'm running that through my Cuttlebug, and if you have any trouble putting the rectangle dies through your Cuttlebug, you can try putting it at an angle so that there's not like a flat line of the die going in the front. It's a little bit easier to run through. So I'm putting that on my white card base, and I'm lining that up, and then I'm taking the same die cut that I used for that center, and I'm putting that right back into place. So you can see there's the stitches on there, so those have to line up on there, and then I can put it into place with some washi tape because I'm going to run that through my Cuttlebug once again. And this is going to die cut the rectangle out of my card base so that I can create the frame on my card. And I have my card base open so that there's not any more bulk going through, and also so the die doesn't cut the back part of my card base. So then I can go ahead and remove that from the die cutting machine. And then you can see I have the frame on my card base, and then the yellow frame. So next I'm going to stamp a sentiment in the middle of my card base. So this will be on the inside of the card, but you'll be able to see it through the window on the front of the card. So I'm using this alphabet set from Lawn Fawn, and I'm just going to spell out hello. I wanted to use these bigger letters to fill up the space in that background instead of using a smaller sentiment. So go ahead and line those up, and I'll have to leave a space for the L since there's only one, and then stamp that again. So I'm just using my Fisker stamp press and putting the stamps on that, and then I'll go ahead and ink it up with my Tuxedo Black Memento ink. I am going to color these letters in with my Copic markers, but you could paper piece them or color them with any other color mediums, or just leave them white in the middle and use a colored ink to stamp them. So then I mounted that L on a smaller stamp block, and I'll go ahead and fill that in. So now I have the Hello Baby set from Lawn Fawn, and I'm going to stamp the baby sentiment right below that hello because I am going to make this a baby card. I didn't get quite enough ink on there, so I'll go ahead and just put a little bit more and then stamp that right below the hello. Alright, so I have my piece of vellum, and I am going to stamp and heat emboss on this vellum. So I'm going to go ahead and put my frame over the top of that just so that I know the area that I have to stamp on. And then I'm also going to put that right over my card base just so that I can see where my sentiment is, so I don't stamp where that is so it's hidden. So I just put some washi tape to secure everything in place so it wouldn't move. And then I have this little star. This is also from the Hello Baby stamp set. And I'm going to stamp a whole bunch of little stars with my Versamark ink. You want to be careful when you're stamping on the acetate because the stamp does like to move around a little bit and it might slightly slide. So you just want to stamp straight up and down. It's the easiest way to do it. If it does slide a little bit, that's okay. It isn't going to be that noticeable. And then I'm going to cover that with my Zing Gold embossing powder. Now I did forget to use my embossing powder bag to cut down on the static electricity, so I did have some excess pieces, but I wiped those off the best that I could. So you want to make sure you do that before you put your embossing powder on there. And then I heat emboss that. And when you heat emboss on vellum or on acetate, you want to make sure that your heat tool is completely hot before you start doing it, and just melt those right away. Don't keep that heat gun on there for any longer than it needs to be, because otherwise your acetate is really going to warp. So I am just adhering that onto the back of the frame and then putting some more adhesive on there so that I can attach that onto my card base. So now you can see this created the window into the center of my card. So now I'm going to go ahead and stamp a little image. So I have the Hello Baby stamp set once again, and I have the smaller bunny rabbit. And I'm stamping that on a piece of Coordination's 110-pound cardstock with the Tuxedo Black Memento ink. And then I'm going to go ahead and color that in with my Copic markers. So I'm starting with the W1 and just coloring in the entire image with that. And then I'm moving to my next darker color, which is the W3, and I'm adding little bits of shading all along some of the edges of that. And then I'll go in with my darkest color, which is the W5, and add just little tiny flicks of that darkest color. And then I'm going to take my W1 and blend all of those colors together. And then I decided it needed a little bit of pink on its cheeks, so I'm taking the RV10 and just slightly adding a little bit of pink to the cheeks. So now I'm going to take my Y11 and color in all of those letters on the inside of my card base. This is a really light yellow, and it actually matches the lemon chiffon ink from Simon Says Stamp almost perfectly. So I was going to do some shading with that Copic markers in the center, but I just decided to keep it simple and use the one shade of yellow. And then I'm going in with my Wink of Stella glitter pen, that is the clear color, and just adding glitter to all of those letters. I did let that sit before I closed it, just so that there wasn't any glitter that transferred onto the acetate sheet. Alright, so now I can go ahead and attach that bunny rabbit. So I'm just using a little bit of my Tombow Mono Multi Glue, and then I'm going to put that in the bottom left-hand corner. And then for one final touch, I am taking my May Arts Natural Twine, and I'm going to tie a bow along the left-hand side of the card, or the crease of the card. And I'm going to wrap that around there twice. And then make sure that it's tight around there. And then I can trim off the excess on the one end, and then tie my bow more towards the top of my card. So before I tie the bow, I'll tie a knot just so that it stays in place, and then I can tie my bow. And then I'm going to leave the excess strings a little bit longer than normal, but I am going to trim off a little bit of the excess there. Alright, and then that is my finished card for today. So hopefully you enjoyed this tutorial and try to make a window card for yourself. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, and give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys back here next time. Bye!